Hello and welcome to Ticker Property. I'm Chris Bondon. On today's program, we'll discuss what's happening in the world of finance and review the weekend's property results thanks to Real-Time Agent, which will scroll across the screen for the duration of the show. My first guest is from Port Group. Her name is Vula Katsiris. Vula, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Chris.
Vula, a lot's happened in the finance industry, particularly with the Royal Commission. Can you give us an overview of what that's done to impact mortgage brokers in the industry thus far?
Absolutely. So obviously the Royal Commission has been going for a little while now, and the idea around the Royal Commission was to investigate what was happening within the banking world and the broking world, and I think it's affected the consumer market a lot more than what everybody thinks it has, because obviously it's
I was going to say, was it more from a consumer confusion about what's going to happen next?
I think the issue was originally it was opened up to see what the systemic problems were, but it's actually extended far greater than that, because now it's affecting consumers a lot more than what we thought it would in relation to being able to get a loan as such now.
Was the biggest objective from the Royal Commission about finding the consumer the best mortgage interest rate, or was it more about taking away income from a mortgage broker? What is it? What do you think of its
I'm going to try and remain so I think the main reason they brought the Royal Commission out was for the consumer to have the best deal, but I think what it's actually done and what it's actually uncovered is there was a lot of systemic problems within the banking world, and obviously that flowed into the broking world as well. So what it's done is caused obviously ripple effect and some issues, and made the broking world a little bit uneasy, obviously, because of where the future leaves the broking industry. So that's what's obviously happened, and hopefully over the next few years what comes of it is a little bit more guidance, but also some relief for the broking industry, because up until this point it's caused some massive chaos and confusion and uneasiness for the broking industry. So we're relying on the government to make some firm decisions, but also to ease the pressure from the industry as well.
Have you seen lenders change the way they behave now since any of those announcements?
Yeah, obviously lenders have changed for a while now, and they've made things a lot more difficult. They've obviously, the HEM has been increased, which is, the way they calculate the living expenses for consumer clients. The parameters for a broker and what the expectation is when they're lodging a loan and what needs to go into that submission. So they've made it a lot harder for the broker. I'm not going to say that consumers aren't getting loans, because that's not the case. It's just that there's a lot more that needs to happen from the broker's perspective or from the bank perspective in order for the consumer to be able to get a loan.
So is that twofold? Is that providing more supporting documentation about income?
Yeah, there's a lot more that's coming out of it. So now, before we were sort of saying to clients, give us a breakdown or a rundown of your living expenses. Now we're saying, okay, give us a breakdown, but also give us 3 to 6 months worth of banking statements, so we can actually cross-check everything, to look at undisclosed debts, which is what the banks are looking for at the moment, and also to then marry up, what in their interpretation is HEM versus what the client's declaring as living expenses.
And previously to that it was around 3 months, is that correct, when it comes to looking at?
Correct. It still is 3 months, and some lenders will ask for it, some won't. But as from our perspective as brokers, we're asking for it to make sure that we can just cross-check, and also so that we're comfortable when we're doing a loan that the client's declared living expenses and what they're actually spending is correct and in line.